Jake Paul and MVP Promotions social media team was dropping some things about this fight with Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. Blockbuster fight they just had. And we know that Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor just fought recently on Netflix for the second time. And they had an all-women's card. But last year they fought on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson card. And they were credited with 74 million people watching their fight. And we know that most of those people tuned in and watched Jake Paul and Mike Tyson because Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fought just a couple of months ago, and those numbers aren't up there. And I've actually ran across those numbers, and those numbers are only 6 million. So the optics are pretty bad on this because they're comparing a co-main event fight to a main event fight, and that had no kind of extra things to motivate people to watch. It was just a boxing match where you watch the two guys fight. You're not trying to watch a boxing legend knock out a guy who used to be a civilian. It's not one of those type of fights. So with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, they were able to kind of capture a different kind of audience all around. Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford are not two guys who are just out there as far as their personality, don't talk a lot. They've actually been criticized for that recently by promoters like Eddie Hearn in the boxing game. A lot of guys like Jake Paul as well has criticized boxers about their approach to the sport. But Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor too being compared to Canelo Alvarez and Crawford fight that just happened this weekend is very, very bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be people in 20 years that's gonna say, oh, that fight, Serrano and Katie Taylor too was bigger than Crawford and Canelo. That wasn't a huge fight. You see how people are trying to shoot this fight down already? This doesn't even have to be put out like this. Them putting this out here as far as Katie Taylor and Serrano, two having these many viewers, actually absolutely does nothing. It actually makes it look worse because you have 74 million people watch your second fight, but then your third fight has 6 million people. And only 4 million people of those people watched the fight for a minute, at least a minute. So that's not really impressive that they're throwing these numbers out here. It actually diminishes Canelo Alvarez in his toughest fight of his career, and it makes him look like he's not really what he was or the legend they calling him now. People are calling him a legend, but then you're saying that Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor's second fight is bigger than anything Canelo's ever done. It's not good history you're putting out there. And this is being done by the hands of a guy like Jake Paul and his team and everybody else around MVP Promotions, allegedly. Because they're putting this out there, this poster, and comparing these two guys. It's not even a comparison. You can't compare a co-main event to a main event. You can't compare a fight that people was going against a lot to a fight that people weren't really paying attention to, except for the fact that they had Jake Paul and Mike Tyson on the card, because you had a war before Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fought. Then they had that same fight months later, and people didn't tune in on Netflix. 6 million people. 6 million people on Netflix is not a lot when you're doing 41 million, 74 million your second fight. The previous fight before that you did 74 million. Then you go to 6 million. That's why I say they're trying to diminish Terrence Crawford's win any way they can. If they got to discredit Canelo's toughest fight, they will. They're going to bring the numbers into the situation. That's why I'm not really harping on the numbers that much, because numbers is, it depends. It all depends. If you have a certain main event or a certain big name, people are tuned in from all walks of life. A lot of people aren't really tuned in to the sport of boxing regularly to the point where Canelo and Crawford could have beat those Serrano numbers, because that crowd is not really affiliated with the lifestyle of boxing the way it's going right now. That's why a lot of changes are being made. But for Jake Paul and his team and everyone else to be making allegedly making insinuations like, okay, this is a bigger fight than Crawford and Canelo by the numbers, that's not good. That's definitely not good. That's not the way boxers should be going. I don't want to see in the future anybody comparing co-main events to a main event blockbuster historic boxing match. It doesn't make sense. A co-main event, you can compare Tank Davis co-main event. Wasn't he co-main event or something on the Conor McGregor card? So you can throw him on there as far as saying, oh, well, he was on the Conor McGregor card. Tank Davis versus, I forgot who it was that he fought for Georgia or somebody. But that fight is bigger, second biggest fight in history. You can say that. Nobody walks around saying Tank Davis was a part of the second biggest fight in history. It just doesn't make sense. Tank Davis, he got the second biggest fight in history. He got the biggest fight in history. Doesn't make sense. And that's how desperate this is. Nobody walks around thinking about, hey, Tank Davis he did millions and millions of pay-per-view numbers on the Conor McGregor versus Mayweather. That's what they're doing with this Serrano and Taylor situation. And they keep doing it over and over and over. They're not going to stop. This is why Layla Ali versus Carissa Shields should have been made yesterday, because those numbers would definitely trump those. They would definitely do 100 million. And that's without a Mike Tyson or a Jake Paul. We know how popular Mike Tyson is. Mike Tyson, the most popular boxer on earth, period, out of anybody walking around right now. If your name's not Muhammad Ali, you're not more popular than Mike Tyson when it comes to boxing. But we see what's going on. That's all I got. Like and subscribe.